Imagine you are high up in the Rocky Mountains, the air is thin and crisp. Suddenly you hear a loud crack, like a giant whip snapping through the air, echoing across the canyons. This isn't thunder or a rock slide, it's the incredible sound of two male bighorn sheep, called rams, crashing their heads together. They are magnificent animals, with thick, muscular bodies and massive, curled horns that can weigh up to 30 pounds. This is more than just a simple fight. It is a powerful ritual, a display of strength and dominance that decides who gets to be the leader of the group, and pass on their genes to the next generation of these amazing mountain dwellers. These powerful contests are truly a sight to behold. The two rams will often stand apart, sometimes as far as 40 feet from each other, before they charge. They rear up on their hind legs for a moment, gathering all their strength, and then launch themselves forward at incredible speeds. They can run as fast as 20 miles per hour right before the moment of impact. When their heads meet, the force is immense, an explosion of power that you can feel in your chest even from a distance. It's a collision that would be catastrophic for almost any other animal on the planet, including us humans. The reason for this intense display is all about survival and continuing their family line. The winner of these head-butting battles proves he is the strongest and healthiest ram in the herd. This makes him more attractive to the females, called ewes. By winning, he earns the right to mate, ensuring that his strong traits like his large horns and powerful body are passed down. It's nature's way of making sure that only the toughest and most resilient individuals contribute to the future of the species, keeping the bighorn sheep population strong and well adapted to their harsh, mountain environment. So, how do they do it? How do they survive these bone-shattering impacts without getting seriously injured? It's a question that has fascinated scientists and nature lovers for years. If a human were to experience even a fraction of that force, it would result in a severe concussion or worse. But these rams can repeat these incredible clashes over and over again, sometimes for hours, until one finally gives up. The secret lies in a series of amazing adaptations, a natural engineering marvel that protects their most important organ, their brain. It's a fantastic example of evolution at its finest. To understand how bighorn sheep survive these intense fights, let's think about something simple: bubble wrap. When you get a fragile item in the mail, it's often wrapped in this plastic sheet filled with little pockets of air. The air pockets act as cushions, absorbing any shocks or bumps during shipping so the item inside doesn't break. This is a perfect way to think about what is happening inside a bighorn sheep's head. Nature has given these animals their very own version of bubble wrap to protect their brains. This natural protection system is far more complex and effective than anything we could design. This bubble wrap isn't made of plastic, of course. It's a combination of different biological structures working together in perfect harmony. The first layer of defense is their massive horns, which we'll talk more about later. But inside the skull, the brain isn't just sitting there, vulnerable to being sloshed around. It's surrounded by a special fluid and supported by a unique bone structure. Every time the rams collide, these features work together to slow down and spread out the force of the impact, just like how bubble wrap disperses the pressure from a bump to protect a glass vase. Think about what happens inside our own heads if we hit them hard. Our brain can slam against the inside of our skull, causing a concussion. For bighorn sheep, their internal system is designed to prevent this from ever happening, even under the most extreme circumstances. Their brain is held more securely, and the shock waves from the clash are carefully managed and redirected away from the delicate brain tissue. It's an incredibly sophisticated system that allows them to engage in these high-impact battles without the devastating consequences we would face, making them true masters of head-on collisions. This natural bubble wrap is a product of millions of years of evolution. The ancestors of modern bighorn sheep that had slightly better protection for their brains were more likely to win fights, survive, and have offspring. Over many generations, these protective traits became more and more pronounced, leading to the incredible system we see today. It's a powerful lesson in how nature solves complex engineering problems. By looking closely at these animals, we can learn so much about how to protect ourselves from similar types of injuries and appreciate the genius of the natural world. The first and most obvious line of defense for a bighorn ram is its magnificent set of horns. These aren't just for show, they are a critical piece of protective equipment, like a built-in helmet and bumper combined. The horns are made of a bony core that is an extension of the skull, covered by a thick layer of keratin, the same tough material that makes up our fingernails and hair. This keratin sheath is incredibly durable and continues to grow throughout the sheep's life, forming the distinct rings that can be used to estimate its age. When rams clash, it is these massive horns that take the initial brutal force of the impact. The structure of the horns is key to their function. They are not solid all the way through. The surface is hard, but underneath the bony core is filled with a network of tiny, interconnected struts and air spaces, similar to a honeycomb. This honeycomb structure is incredibly strong but also lightweight, and it's brilliant at absorbing energy. When the horns collide, this internal lattice compresses slightly, soaking up the shock waves from the impact before they can travel directly to the skull. It's like the crumple zone on the front of a car, designed to absorb the force of a crash to protect the passengers inside. Beneath the horns, the skull itself is also remarkably adapted for battle. A ram's skull is much thicker and denser than a human skull, especially at the front where the impacts occur. It features a double-layered design, with another honeycomb-like structure of bone, called cancellous bone, sandwiched between the hard outer and inner layers. This creates another buffer zone, so any force that gets past the horns is then further dampened by this spongy, reinforced bone. This multi-layered defense system ensures that very little of the initial violent force ever reaches the brain cavity. All these components, the keratin sheath, the honeycomb bone core of the horns, and the double-layered reinforced skull, work together as one integrated system. It's a masterpiece of natural engineering, honed by evolution to be perfectly suited for the ram's high-stakes lifestyle. The sheer size of the horns also helps to distribute the force over a wider area, preventing it from concentrating on one small, vulnerable spot. This natural helmet is far more advanced than any we have yet been able to create, providing complete protection from impacts that would be unthinkable for us. Even with the world's best helmet, a powerful enough impact can still cause the brain to move violently inside the skull. This is where the bighorn sheep's next amazing adaptation comes into play, its internal fluid dynamics. Just like our brains, a bighorn sheep's brain is cushioned by a liquid called cerebrospinal fluid, or CSF. This fluid acts as a shock absorber, allowing the brain to float safely within the skull and protecting it from minor bumps and jolts. However, scientists believe that bighorn sheep have a way to make this system even more effective during their head-butting contests. Recent studies suggest something truly remarkable happens right before a ram charges. The sheep can temporarily increase the volume of blood in its head, which in turn increases the pressure of the cerebrospinal fluid surrounding the brain. This essentially tightens the fluid cushion around the brain, holding it more securely in place. This increased pressure prevents the brain from sloshing around and striking the inside of the skull during the violent deceleration of an impact. It's like packing a box with extra foam peanuts to ensure the contents don't move at all, providing a much higher level of protection. This mechanism is fascinating because it is a dynamic, on-demand safety system. The ram doesn't have this high-pressure state all the time, only when it needs it for battle. Once the fight is over, the blood volume and CSF pressure can return to normal. This temporary adjustment is a brilliant solution that gives the sheep maximum protection when it's most vulnerable. It highlights how animal adaptations are not always static physical features but can also be complex physiological processes that are activated only when necessary. It's an active, intelligent defense system. Comparing this to humans, our brain has much more room to move within our skull, and our CSF cushion is not designed to handle such extreme forces. A hard impact can easily cause our brain to collide with the skull, leading to bruising, swelling, and the dangerous condition known as a concussion. Bighorn sheep, with their thick skulls, energy-absorbing horns, and unique fluid pressure system, have a comprehensive solution that addresses every aspect of impact protection. Their brains are locked down tight, shielded by layers of brilliant natural armor, making them the undisputed champions of head safety in the animal kingdom. The incredible way bighorn sheep protect their brains is more than just a cool fact about wildlife. It holds valuable lessons for human health and safety. Scientists and engineers are studying these animals very closely, hoping to unlock their secrets to prevent brain injuries in people. Concussions and other traumatic brain injuries are a major concern in sports like American football and hockey, as well as for soldiers in combat and victims of car accidents. By understanding the bighorn sheep's multi-layered defense system, we might be able to design better protective gear. For example, Engineers are looking at the honeycomb structure inside the sheep's horns and skull. This design is incredibly effective at absorbing and distributing impact forces. This concept could be used to create new materials for helmets. Imagine a football helmet lined with a material that mimics the spongy, air-filled bone of a ram. It could be much more effective at reducing the force that reaches a player's head during a tackle. By copying nature's design, a field of study called biomimicry, we could develop next-generation helmets that offer a level of protection far beyond what is currently possible. Researchers are also intrigued by the sheep's ability to control the fluid pressure around its brain. While we can't replicate this exact biological process in humans, the principle behind it is inspiring new ideas. Some researchers are exploring concepts for helmets or neck collars that could apply gentle pressure to the neck. This might slightly increase the blood volume in the head, creating a tighter cushion of cerebrospinal fluid around the brain, similar to the bubble wrap effect in the sheep. These ideas are still in the early stages of research, but they show how studying wildlife can lead to groundbreaking medical and technological innovations. The bighorn sheep is a living laboratory for impact dynamics. Every time two rams clash, they are demonstrating a masterclass in physics and biology. They show us that the best solutions often involve multiple systems working together: a hard outer shell, an energy-absorbing inner layer, and a fluid cushioning system. By continuing to study these magnificent animals, we not only gain a deeper appreciation for the wonders of the natural world, but we also find inspiration for solving some of our own most challenging safety problems, potentially saving lives and improving the well-being of many people. The bighorn sheep is a powerful symbol of the wild, rugged landscapes of our planet. Their ability to thrive in such a harsh environment, complete with their spectacular head-butting rituals, makes them one of nature's most impressive creatures. They are more than just animals. They are living examples of evolution's genius. For millions of years they have been perfecting their unique survival skills, resulting in the incredible biological engineering that protects their brains. Watching them reminds us that the natural world is full of amazing solutions to complex problems, often far more advanced than our own inventions. However, these incredible animals face many threats today. Their populations have declined in many areas due to habitat loss, as human development expands into their mountain homes. Diseases, often transmitted from domestic sheep, can also devastate entire herds. Climate change is altering their environment, affecting the plants they eat and the delicate balance of their ecosystem. It is our responsibility to protect these majestic animals and the wild places they live. By preserving their habitat and working to keep their populations healthy, we ensure that future generations can also marvel at their strength and resilience. Conservation efforts are crucial. Organizations and government agencies are working to create wildlife corridors that allow sheep to move safely between mountain ranges, maintain healthy genetic diversity, and reintroduce them to areas where they have disappeared. These efforts require public support and a shared understanding of why these animals are so important. Protecting bighorn sheep is not just about saving a single species, it's about preserving the integrity of an entire ecosystem and maintaining the rich biodiversity that makes our planet so special and vibrant. Ultimately, the bighorn sheep has so much to teach us. It teaches us about adaptation, the slow and steady power of evolution, and the incredible ingenuity of nature. It inspires us to think differently about engineering and safety, offering biological blueprints for better helmets and brain protection. By valuing and protecting these animals, we are not only being good stewards of the environment, but we are also preserving a source of knowledge and inspiration. The thunderous clash of their horns in the high mountains is a sound worth saving, a wild call that reminds us of the power and wonder of the natural world.